What's up guys, my name is Ace, and now that the mid-season update for Season 1 has sort of settled in, we've had some more playtime with it, I stand behind what I said at the end of the first video I made about this update. And that is, I feel like there were some nice steps in the right direction with this update, but since we had been waiting for it for so long, and this was a very highly anticipated update, I couldn't help but feel disappointed that more issues weren't resolved with this, and also several new issues popped up as a result of this update. So in today's video, I just wanted to go through a list of what I feel are the most important issues that can hopefully be taken care of with the launch of Season 2. I feel like it's already gotten to the point where many people have dropped off of this game with no intention of returning, and that's only going to get worse if at least a bunch of these particular issues don't get resolved very quickly. So here we go, let's just dive into the list. This is in no particular order, but the first thing I noticed is they definitely didn't fix that bug where when you catch fire, you have those flames on your screen, and they can persist until you die. Now, to my knowledge, this only happens with the Incendiary grenade. I think this is a direct result of the Incendiary grenade, and we've been dealing with this issue for far too long at this point. This is just ridiculous that this is still persisting. So I really hope in the next major update, we are going to be seeing a proper fix to this, so this no longer happens. And if you can't find a fix for it, maybe disable the Incendiary grenade until you do find a fix for it, because it's not having a positive impact on this game. Next up on the list, and also relating to fire, the Fortified bug that was just introduced at the mid-season update. Hopefully they can get on top of this one quickly. For those that don't know, in its current state, Fortified gives you full immunity to fire damage. And this isn't supposed to be happening. It's supposed to reduce fire damage by 30%, but instead you are completely immune. Even to a flame knot that's just holding his flamethrower directly on you at point blank range, you will receive literally 0 damage. Or, now one big thing I've run into is people running shields, and even if you stick them with a thermite on their shield, they don't die from that after this update. I don't believe they even take any damage whatsoever. Additionally, with Fortified, I'm hearing reports that glide bombs don't even deal damage to Fortified users anymore. And another thing that was introduced with this buff to Fortified that I'm not 100% sure if this is intentional or not, but I don't believe it should be like this. You will survive a direct impact from a rocket launcher if you're using Fortified. And I just don't feel that should be the case, especially since there are launcher challenges present that require you to kill enemy players. I think if the player is good enough or even lucky enough to land a direct impact with a rocket launcher, there is no perk in the game that should allow you to survive that. And speaking of rocket launchers, let's talk a little bit about the Panzerfaust camo challenges. Now, they did make an adjustment to the camo challenges with the most recent update, so it is now at least technically doable, but the community is not happy with the solution that they implemented, where they basically made it so you can now kill dogs as a kill streak to get the shoot 3 kill streaks down in a single game X number of times. And the problem with this is fairly obvious. The dog kill streak is the only real viable kill streak that you can kill with a Panzerfaust, since they just can't effectively shoot spy planes and counter spy planes, and even if you are lucky enough to hit one of the spy planes or counter spy planes, it doesn't even kill them in one hit. So this means in order to get this challenge completed, you have to rely on enemy players getting the dog kill streak. And then even then, once they call that dog kill streak in, it's not necessarily a guarantee that you'll be able to find 3 dogs and kill them with a Panzerfaust before the time expires on them or before your teammates end up killing them. So this is the type of challenge that relies far too heavily on what other people are doing rather than what you are doing. And that's a big issue when it comes to challenges. In my opinion, at least, challenges should be more reliant on what you're doing rather than what other people are doing. And the stars shouldn't have to align for you just to work toward a camo challenge. So with this, many people are calling for this challenge to just be changed to get X number of double kills or even triple kills rather than having to take out kill streaks, which this launcher is clearly not designed for. Either that, or make the Panzerfaust at least relatively effective at shooting down spy planes and counter spy planes. Make it so it is a one-hit kill if you manage to hit one of those, and then maybe make it a little more accurate as well, so you're able to effectively hit those spy planes and counter spy planes. Now, on top of this, I am also hearing a lot of reports that the long shot challenges of the Panzerfaust are bugged, where they will only count if it hits directly on the enemy character. Like, it doesn't count for every long shot kill that you get, it only counts if you directly impact them. And this one's a little bit more minor, because at least with this one, you can kind of suck it up, and it still does rely on you and your ability to hit that target directly. But it seems to me that any long shot kill that you get with the launcher, whether it's a direct impact or not, should be counting as a long shot kill toward this camo challenge. But moving on, let's get into the next thing on my list, and this one's a very serious issue, primarily from Xbox and PC players, it seems. And this is that aim assist issue that has been going on for quite some time now, where aim assist seems to toggle on and off. They mention it being related to cold-blooded in the Trello board, but I don't believe this is necessarily the case. I think this is happening against players that aren't using cold-blooded as well. And when you look at the Trello board, this is still labeled as investigating. They don't have a fix scheduled for this, so it seems like they're having a hard time tracking down this bug and this issue. But this should be very high up on their priority list right now for a fix, because like it or not, aim assist is a very important part of the game when playing with a controller, and having it work inconsistently sounds like a horrible experience. Even though I haven't experienced this myself playing on PlayStation, I feel for the Xbox and PC players out there that are experiencing this, because it is frustrating to sometimes have aim assist and then other times you've got nothing, and it's just a very inconsistent feeling. Next up, a really big thing that a lot of people fully expected to be in the most recent update, but it turns out we didn't see any adjustment here whatsoever. This was a nerf to the shotguns, or at least various shotgun attachments. Now, the primary culprits here are going to be the buck and slug attachment with the combat shotgun, and then whatever akimbo double barrel shotgun setup that I see a lot of people running around with, where you're able to get ridiculous one-shot kills without even having to have any precision whatsoever. And in my mind, that's the big issue with the shotguns. I think in most cases, the shotguns are just fine. There are just a few key attachments that need to be targeted here to bring them into a place where they should be. And I'm not even necessarily opposed to having really good one-shot kill potentials with shotguns. My problem is the fact that they are way too forgiving, and with the combat shotgun and buck and slug, for instance, you're still heavily incentivized to have the widest hipfire spread possible, because all you really have to do is get within about 12 meters and hit one single pellet, and that enemy is going to die. There's no real skill involved with that, and in my opinion, if you are going to be getting a one-shot kill out to something like 12 meters, you should have to be landing a bunch of pellets to make that happen. You should have to be precise to make that happen, and that's just not currently the case. And it gets to the point where if you run into a couple decent players running these shotgun builds, it just makes for a horrible experience trying to counter them. And I feel especially bad for the search and destroy players out there, because you only get one life per round in that mode, so it must be even more frustrating to be just insta-killed by these shotguns at pretty crazy ranges without them even requiring any precision whatsoever to make that happen. So again, I'm not looking for the shotguns to be nerfed into the ground. I just think we absolutely need to see some tuning with specific setups and attachments. But after that, let's talk a little bit about matchmaking, and we've got some pretty serious matchmaking issues that have been around basically since this game launched, and the first one is just keeping parties together. That seems to be harder than ever before in a Call of Duty game, where you've got a party together, and you play a game just fine with that party, and then once you get back into the lobby, everything breaks up, or you're just endlessly searching for a match, and it never actually puts you into one, and a lot of times you have to like restart your app in order to get the party back together so you can just play another game together. And to me, it's kind of ridiculous that this issue is still persisting, because the ability to matchmake into the game is one of the most basic functions of the game. And I would understand having a few bugs and issues with this within the first couple weeks of launch and then having to resolve that. But come on, we're 2 months into the game and we're still experiencing these issues. And this is absolutely one of those things that's contributing to people not wanting to play this game at all. And going off of that, something that they have at least acknowledged in their Trello board now, which is great to see, it looks like there is actually a bug right now where there's limited map rotation depending on your quick play filters. And a lot of us suspected this was the case for a long time, and it looks like this is now confirmed, where depending on the mode and the combat facing filter that you choose, you may not be able to play certain maps. Like, they will literally never pop up in rotation for you, and you'll end up being limited to a certain set of maps, which is obviously frustrating because you're not having access to all of the content in the game. Additionally, they have finally acknowledged as well that quick play filters occasionally ignore the player's preferred intensity. So a lot of times if you select assault, you will end up with blitz or tactical. You won't actually get into an assault game. So it's nice to see that they acknowledge this. I don't know what they're going to be doing about this in order to fix it, because I do suspect the reason you don't see assault as often when you select assault specifically is there just isn't a big enough player pool in assault, but that's just my guess on this. We'll just have to wait and see what they end up doing about this. After that, let's talk about spawns. Now, in the most recent update, they have made some spawn adjustments, and as far as I can tell, it seems like they made some adjustments across the board, like even adjustments they didn't mention in the patch notes, like even in just regular domination on non-small maps, it seems like there have been adjustments to spawns. However, in my experience so far after this update, if anything, I feel like they made the spawns worse. Especially in Domination, which is the game mode that I play 99% of the time. The spawns just don't make any sense for Domination. It honestly feels like the devs don't understand how spawns are supposed to work in Domination because they don't work even remotely close to how they're supposed to. I've run into far too many situations where my team only holds one Domination flag and we are fighting to get that B flag under control, and the enemies start spawning on our one and only flag, so now they're coming from both directions. That is absolutely ridiculous for Domination, and that should never be happening. And that's just one example of the horrible spawn design that they've got in the game right now. And I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to spawns within the first month or so of a game's life cycle, but we're 2 months in, and the spawns are still in a completely horrible state, to the point where it seems like playing Domination the way it's intended to be played has no meaning anymore. And this is still my #1 gameplay-related complaint with this game. And with that, I think that's a good place to leave this video. This was by no means a comprehensive list of all of the issues that are currently present in Vanguard and all of the things that I feel should be worked on. These are just the main things. These are the things that I feel should be the highest priority because I feel like these are the primary factors that are pushing people away from this game. Now, of course, I'd like to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What other really big issues do you have with Vanguard currently that you feel need to be resolved quickly? I'm not talking about little minor bugs and issues right here. I'm talking about the big things, the things that are really pushing you away from wanting to play this game. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.